In the previous programme, we explored what the phrase aging well means to us. We talked about the benefits of having a sense of purpose, as well as developing a broad view of life. The interdependence of all living things has become more apparent over the last 60 years. And you know, we are one of the first generations to see pictures of planet Earth from space. Many astronauts found the experience of looking back at the small blue planet to be life-changing.
Karen Nyberg, a mechanical engineer from NASA, has spent 120 days in space. She said, "Every single part of the Earth reacts with every other part. It's one thing. Every little animal is important in that ecosystem. Seeing the planet from above makes you realise that and makes you want to be a little more proactive in keeping it that way. If I could get every Earthling to do one circle of the Earth, I think things would run a little differently."
It's unlikely that us older Earthlings will be going into space anytime soon, but in later life we have a chance to open up our lives to this vast cosmic perspective. When children first experience waves lapping on a beach or snow falling on the ground, there's curiosity and a sense of wonder at the mystery of it all. But in the self-centred, independent stage of life, we can lose this deeper connection. So just take a moment and think back to what gave you a sense of wonder as a child. Don't worry if nothing comes to mind right now. Something may come to you later.
Now, in the later stages of life, we can reconnect with the wonder of life and have a profound sense of gratitude for it. You see, we have lived long enough to see the big, interconnected picture. We either can take life for granted or be more conscious that we are part of something extraordinary. Many research studies have shown that appreciation and gratitude are really important for our well-being. In later life, we suffer from various aches and pains. We lose the flexibility in our body, and it just doesn't function as well as it used to. And it's easy to kind of feel resentful or sorry for ourselves. So it's essential for our well-being to make a conscious effort to appreciate life.
At times when this is difficult, it may be useful to focus on something seemingly mundane or small. A bird singing, a flower blooming, even a cloud passing by. As the author Robert Bolt said, enjoy the little things, for one day you may look back and realise that they were the big things. So now the invitation is to write in your journal just one thing for which you have gratitude. It might be a sentence or two, or you might want to explore your appreciation for someone or something much more deeply. If you can then develop a practice of gratitude every day, I'm sure you're going to gain a much deeper connection to life. And this simple exercise will have a profound effect on your well-being.
How can we have gratitude for life when we know it will not last? At our age, we're fully aware that everything is transient, that life is finite. Plants, trees, animals all die, and we humans are no different. How can we enjoy life fully when we know that it will end? How can we have gratitude when there are uncertainties about our health and capabilities as we grow older? With so many unknowns, our self-centred mind can become fearful. An individual who sees themselves as independent and separate can easily be overwhelmed by anxiety. Anxiety about our future can cause great suffering and lead to a downward spiral. If we don't embrace the interdependence of life, we can quickly become isolated and lonely as we grow older.
Being appreciative is not to deny life's difficulties, and as we grow older, there are many challenges. It's natural to have concerns about losing mental and physical capability. We also have to deal with the death of friends, relatives and pets. At our age, we've all known losses, but while grief is a natural response to loss, we elders can still find gratitude for life. In the independent stage of life, grief is seen as negative or unpleasant. It's something that needs to be fixed as quickly as possible so that we can get back to business as usual. But the wise elder sees that loss is an inevitable part of being human that cannot be avoided.
Grief is painful, but it is a part of life, and it will not help us to age well if we deny it. Since Elizabeth Kubler-Ross wrote her book, The 5 Stages of Grief in 1969, many books have been written and much academic research undertaken into the subject of grief. Human emotions are profoundly complex, and although there are many theories about the nature of grief, there are no easy remedies. As the musician Nick Cave wrote, grief is tidal. In time, it can recede and leave us with feelings of peace and advancement, only for it to wash back in with all its crushing hopelessness and sorrow. Back and forth it goes. But with each retreating drift of despair, we are left a little stronger, more resilient, more essential, and better at our new life.
Grief and joy are human emotions that are profoundly connected. Relationships are given power and depth simply because consciously or unconsciously we know they are finite. The joy that comes from a beautiful connection with another living being deepens our grief when we lose that relationship. The invitation, therefore, is to think about 3 losses in your life. They don't have to be the biggest or even the most profound. Could be the loss of a job, the end of a relationship, or loss of anything that meant something special to you. Spend a little time thinking about each of the 3 losses and how you actually feel about them, each one. Then when you're ready, write about just 1 loss in your journal. The entry may be a couple of sentences or several paragraphs, but probably not a book.
When we were young, we were encouraged to grow out of shedding tears and crying, as it showed a vulnerability that was not always welcome. Even at a funeral, mourners might speak of how bravely the bereaved widow behaved because she showed little of her deep emotion. But while grief is often deeply personal, it can also connect us to the bigger picture. As the activist Helen Keller said, "We bereaved are not alone. We belong to the largest company in all the world, the company of those who have known suffering." In some cultures, grieving is seen as a necessary communal ritual that binds and strengthens the tribe.
From the cosmic perspective, both grief and joy are deeply connected. Relationships are given power and depth because consciously or unconsciously we know they are finite. The joy that comes from a beautiful connection with another living being deepens our grief when we lose that relationship. We cannot truly experience joy if we deny the grief. And as we grow older, there is a real opportunity to feel joy and unconditional happiness despite our losses. It is something that we can choose, as ultimately joy stems from appreciation of life. And as we saw earlier, this can be developed with practice.
Within each of us, there are memories of significant moments of joy and grief, of failures and successes. I mean, We have experienced so much and so many emotions. Some of what we carry around from the past may be actually good, and some of it may be actually weighing us down like a heavy rucksack that we carry through life. So, before we move into creating clarity of purpose for our life, this might be a good time to unpack, or at least recognize some of the baggage that is not essential to our own onward journey. Even if we could unpack everything, there's no need to. We can just start by checking in with ourselves around any resentments, for example, that we carry. Nothing may come to mind right away, but if it does, acknowledging hidden resentment can help lighten the load.
We all carry baggage from the past, which is why gratitude is such an important practice. Daily appreciation for the small and the big things in life can bring us back fully into the present. It's like a muscle. We either use it or we lose it, and the more we use it, the more powerful it becomes.
So, what is our purpose? What gives us meaning? And how can we make a difference at our age? Everything comes down to our intention, not just for today or next week, but for the rest of our lives. In the next programme, we'll explore how clarity of intention is key to ageing well in later life. We will suggest that it involves a personal exploration and a conscious effort in order to create a personal statement of intent that will benefit ourselves as well as others.